What's up, YouTube? Uh, Wanted to come at you again. I had something come across my feed. Something that happened down in Louisiana. Some guys got in a fight and one of them ended up losing their life over a woman. And I wanted to talk about that today. Uh, Before we get started, guys, if you can do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe button. Definitely comment if you experienced this, or you have any insight, or you just want to talk about something you may have saw in the video. But let's get started. So there's a new story about these teens. I'm not sure the ages. I'm just getting the information out, but I wanted to react to it real quick. But they're basically with teens still in school, hadn't weren't adults yet. Got into a fight over a girl, and one of them ended up shooting the other over this particular altercation, right? And I wanted to talk about that because I was sitting there thinking, I was like, oh man, I'd never fight over a girl. But I'm like, I fought over a girl once. It wasn't my choice. The guy liked the girl and the girl liked me, and he wanted to fight me for it. And, we would fight all the time about it. And it was so strange to me because, the girl didn't even like him, right? Um, at least from what I was seeing. I mean, who knows what type of vibe she may have been giving him outside of me. And we were young, so she might have been, flirting with me or in my face, and giving him some encouragement to the side, which made him think that we could be together, or they could be together, whatnot. And I notice a lot of times, especially when you're in that age group, when you're becoming a young man, and even when you are a young adult, your hormones will rage you out over women, and it's really unnecessary because a woman's gonna do what she's gonna do, right? You have no rights and no claims to a woman to say, well, this one's mine, and she can't do this, she can't do that. So you gotta let a woman do what she's gonna do. It is your responsibility to move on to a woman that's not gonna do that to you, right? You gotta be in better control of your emotions. Um, and I think sometimes that's what's missing is the lack of control of emotions. And I know it's probably hard for you, especially when you're younger. As a man, I mean, we all, we're young at one point and realize, looking back, we thought we knew everything. And at a certain age, we thought we knew even more. Like, we always thought we were so much smarter than everybody else. And whatever we were doing was 100% correct. And the way we did it was 100% correct, right? And now I look back on those things, and it's like it was so stupid to fight over that girl. I mean, in that situation, I was defending myself. I didn't go seeking the issue, but it was crazy because this dude, and he was coming at me, and I was like, "You're fighting me," and I didn't want to fight him. But at the time, I fought all the time, with my older family members, so I ended up winning the fights. And it was strange to me that here you are trying to fight me over a girl that's not even yours, and losing, and want to continue to fight because you're losing. And and you see that a lot, especially when you go out. I remember, being a young man and going out to clubs, and certain guys weren't getting the attention of the females, so they want to fight the guy who is getting the attention, right? Um, there may be some valid reasons, you know what I mean, like, oh, you're dating, you have a girlfriend, or, somebody you're dealing with, and the guy's harassing them and just being obnoxious. Then okay. I'm not saying you should do it, but that makes the rationale behind that's a little bit different. But majority of the time, it's either she's talking to both of you guys, or you're just mad because this guy's getting something that you want, and it's been like that, far past being a teenager, right? There's always going to be some jealousy. And I guess that's what this video really boiled down to. It's always going to be some jealousy on the things you have, especially if you have something that somebody else covets. That's what the Bible teaches us: don't covet. Then, shouldn't covet neighbor's wife. things like that, because it's always been an issue. Men have always looked, and women too, have always looked at someone else's life, property, and not saying women's property, but look at someone, how they're living, what the things they have, whether that's a relationship or other things, and said, I want that for myself. And if I got him out of the way, then that could be mine. Even David did it in the Bible, I forget I want to say Uriah, but I'm maybe mistaken. If you are aware of that, please comment below. But David wanted someone's wife, and he put that man at the front of the line because he was the king of Israel. He put that guy at the beginning, at the front of the lines when they went to war, and the guy ended up losing his life so David could have his wife. So it's always been a thing. It's always been a thing. And I would encourage everyone who's listening to my voice today, slow down. It's not that serious, because there's no one on this planet. I don't care how beautiful she is. I don't care, what she's doing in the bedroom. I don't care, how nice and sweet she is. There's no one on the planet that's worth you throwing your life away over, right? And that circles back to these kids, because it's like, you look at this situation. One boy's gonna definitely go to jail, so that girl's gonna still be out there dealing with whoever, and another person's lost their life. And that's a lot of times the result of a lot of these particular arguments is one person's in jail, one person has lost their life, and the woman moves on with whatever she's got going on. You know what I mean? And now you in jail because you say, I got the, make an example of this dude. He playing with me, da 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 da. He messing with my girl. That's me over there. So now you in jail. Now she with somebody else. And you didn't ruin your life and threw your life away for somebody that's gonna move on. It's so crazy, it's so weird. But there's so many stories in history where men have lost their lives for the sake of a woman. I mean, think about it. I think it's the Iliad. And if you're not familiar with the Iliad, it's a Greek poem wrote by Homer, and he basically talks about the Helen of Troy. Basically, Helen was a Greek woman, and they took her to Troy, and they just said Helen's so beautiful to the face that launched 1,000 ships. So basically, Greece used that as took that as a form of disrespect and used that as a reason to invade Troy and wiped out Troy. All over a woman. All over a woman. So, I don't think it's something, it's definitely not something new, obviously, about the stories I've mentioned. But it's up to you to move differently, right? And I extend this to even guys who are dating someone and you out and about, and the guy hollers at your girl or whatever, and you want to get in fisticuffs with some dude, some random stranger who thought your girl was attractive. Now, once again, you locked up. So how you gonna provide for her locked up? Because you whooped, buddy. You gave him the business, but you locked up. So whatever support you were providing for her, she ain't got that no more. However much time they give you, how long she's supposed to wait? So you whoop buddy so good, you get 3 to 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't know what the times are, but you get an assault charge, or you end up killing buddy because you whooped him so bad. Now you in jail, locked down for some years, doing some hard time around a bunch of men because you wanted to preserve the rights of your woman. And I tell all my women this, man. My number one job is to get home. If you're making it more difficult for me, then you're not gonna be the one for me. If you're sitting there, well, why you ain't defending my? Why you over there talking to homeboy? I mean, why you making my life harder? Because why I got to fight everybody because you want to wear skimpy things, or why I got to fight everybody because you don't know how to be at the house. You know what I'm saying? Like I dated a woman years ago, and she said, "Oh, I hope that you're not scared to defend me." And she was a very voluptuous woman, and my main thought was like, "Yo, I'd rather not put us in a position to do that." You know what I mean? And she just, she just didn't understand why I said that. She was like, that just means, you're not going to defend me. Like, no, it's just, I'd rather be living the American dream, off to myself, not bothered with the hood stuff, right? And I said that because I know I had a temper, right? So I knew that if you put me in that type of position, I was gonna crash out. I was young and silly, right? So I knew enough about myself that I'd rather not put myself in a situation to crash out. And there was a situation eventually that happened because we were together for a while, about a couple of years. And then she was like, "Oh, okay, well, now I know you're the female." I'm like, in that situation, it was warranted, but it wasn't warranted, right? She didn't necessarily put me in a situation, but the situation presented itself, and you know, I felt that it was within my rights to check Buddy. You know what I'm saying? Because he was out of pocket. And like I said, that's one thing about her, and I will say to the day, when she first said that to me, I thought that she was, a troublemaker, but she really wasn't. She wasn't the type of woman to be out in the club and being in people's faces. When we were out together, she was in my face. But because of the way she looked and her body proportions, guys felt like they could shoot their shot, and some of them would be super disrespectful. And I had to check that. But at the end of the day, I'm like, well, what if Buddy's like 6'7", 300 pounds, and now I got to check Buddy, and he want to fold me in half because he don't feel like being checked. When the easiest thing to say, okay, baby, let's just go. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just easy for me to just say go than to fight, the UFC wrestler. Because I'm only 5'9". You know what I'm saying? And now I got to fight some UFC wrestler because he felt like he wanted to, say something to my woman. Best thing for me to do is leave. Now, sir, if you follow me to my car, you want to keep going, I will defend myself with the ultimate equalizer. I'll just leave it at that. But, this whole video is just to talk about, why do we feel the need as men to confront other men over women? Especially when I feel like sometimes there's no disrespect. It's just she likes you, or she likes them more than they like you, and vice versa. There's an old saying, man, that a lot of the old players would say, don't check me, man, check your woman. You know what I'm saying? It's your woman that's out of pocket. Don't come for me. And that's the same thing with a guy. You find out that a woman is cheating on you. Like, what's the guy supposed to do? Like, she giving it to him. He ain't took it from her. But you want to kill him. Instead of, you want to do something to him instead of, handing your woman. And I ain't saying do something to your woman, but you would probably be best to check her and move the heck on because it's not worth it. It's just not worth it, man. It's so many stories of these guys, unaliving themselves because of a woman, or unaliving a woman because she want to be with another man, or unaliving, the woman in themselves. I'm like, ain't nothing good enough for me to go ahead and knock you off and then knock myself off. It's crazy, and I think we need to really address the mental weakness that we have as men when it comes to these particular situations. But anyway, that's my thoughts, guys. I just want to make a quick video. I probably ran over time, but if you have any comments or concerns, please put that in the comment section down there. If you like the video, please. If you like what I'm saying, please like the video. If you don't like what I'm saying, comment and say what you don't like or what you disagree with. Any interaction helps me grow the channel. Really appreciate it, guys. Have a great day.